That's where I saw Jean-Claude Van Damme. Is that true he got in a fight with you?
No. It'd be like me squashing an ant.
I don't remember where I don't know if it was the Inquirer, but I remember reading something about that.
Come on.
You, Larry?
I thought he said he did like a spinning double twist kick or some shit.
It's like going in front of it. If he sees me, he runs.
Well, he said that he whooped some Aikido ass or something. I don't know.
Come on.
Everybody, I'm Keith Vitali. Welcome to Sidekick Podcast. Say hi to my producer, Corey Gomez. Hi, Corey. How you doing?
I'm good. How's everybody else doing tonight?
Wonderful, wonderful. And I always like to be surprised by you. You've got great questions. You are definitely a martial arts film buff. And so I always like to be surprised. And my audience out there, he doesn't tell me in advance the questions he's going to ask me. So I kind of like this. This is kind of exciting for me at the same time. So go ahead. You got another question for me.
This is kind of a two-part question. So I'm going to go with part one first. Once again, I have video footage to back these questions up. I'm not just making up nonsense. Jean-Claude Van Damme, big fan. Bloodsport, Lionheart, Death Warrant, Hard Target. Love these movies. Do you believe that Van Damme, I'm not discrediting him in any way, but do you believe he is the accomplished martial artist, tournament fighter, champion that everyone says he is?
I've never heard anyone say that he's any of that. Now, he made some prior claims that he might have won a tournament. And again, I don't fault him for that because prior to the internet, people were fabricating their resumes all the time. Believe me, I taught an action film camp in North Carolina with Michael DePasquale and Keith Strandberg, and we'd have people coming from all over the world to come in to learn how to break into films. And when they come in, my first question every time is, raise your hand if you're a world champion. And out of 100 people, 60 or 70 would raise their hands. And I go, what world are we talking about? So really, Van Damme was no different. He was a young man from Belgium. He probably fought some tournaments, but he wasn't a noted tournament fighter. I mean, he fought in some, but that wasn't his gift. His gift was him, his technique and his charm and his accent, all of that together that created that personality. But for those that try to say, well, he didn't win those tournaments, I always go, who cares? Who cares where he came from and if he won a tournament or not? But it's before the internet, and some people made those claims. And now with the internet, you can source everything out. So you got to be very careful when you make a claim because people can root out and find out if you were telling the truth.
Part two of this question brings up one of my heroes. Reason I had a ponytail when I had hair. Steven Seagal, who is a legitimate martial artist, contrary to what everybody wants to make fun of. He is the first American to open a dojo in Japan to train. He said when he was asked on multiple occasions, even to this day, when they say, is Van Damme a tough guy? He usually goes, do you want me to laugh in your face?
Most legitimate Hollywood tough guy, in your opinion. You accept it, of course.
When you say tough guy, do you mean martial artist or just tough guy?
I mean, Stephen, for real. If he was on the street and there was a situation, you wanted this Hollywood guy by your side because he could defend himself. It's that hard to think of a legit one?
Can you think of one?
Thoughts on Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Can I laugh in your face?
And the rumor is Van Damme once offered $20 million to fight Steven Seagal. And Steven Seagal was like, I don't want to laugh in your face. Do you think Steven Seagal versus Van Damme, how would you see that fight going down if it ever were to happen?
Oh, that's pretty. I've never heard that question before. I've never heard anybody even put those two together in the same sentence. I've met both, but here's the thing about Steven Seagal. I have really close friends that are stuntmen, that are actors, that have been in his films, but I have also good friends that have attended his seminars, nothing to do with martial arts films. And I've asked them point blank, but Van Damme is, he's a pretty boy. He has great technique, but I wouldn't put him in the same ring with Seagal. When they're both in their prime, believe me, I just think Steven Seagal is just too powerful because they're not doing kickboxing. They're not doing UFC MMA. What they'll be doing is be fighting to survive. And the first time that really a jiu-jitsu guy like Seagal got his hands on Van Damme, it'd have been all over. And I have good friends of mine. Michael DePasquale, God bless him, he's no longer with us. One of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners on this planet. Not that Seagal was, but he was trained in the same kind of aspects, the same arenas. I'm telling you, when Michael DePasquale gets his hands on you, you're gone. When Remy Presas or any of these great guys, when they get their hands on you, you're gone. Thank God I had a sidekick, and I'd have to sidekick just to keep him away from me. Same thing would happen if Seagal got his hands on Van Damme. I just believe the fight would be over.
Do you know Van Damme?
No.
You've heard of him? Okay. Let's start with him, Stephen. What do you think of his work as a martial artist first?
Can we change the subject?
Well, I mean, because like you guys go back to the martial arts world before you were movie stars, right? I mean, he was like a champion somewhere, and right? I mean, you.
Well, I mean, I just promised all my mentors that I was going to be a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a matter of opinion, that he was a champion anywhere. And I mean, I'm not being catty or anything. I wish the guy all the best. But there are an awful lot of people who say that that's not true.
So you think if that fight, do you think that Van Damme and Seagal do you think Van Damme ever actually challenged him, or do you think that's made up?
He's made up. To Van Damme's credit, he shouldn't do it, wouldn't have to do it. He already has a reputation. He doesn't have to prove himself to anybody. Why would he subject himself to get in a ring and maybe lose? Just enjoy life and be a big movie star. I was making movies at the same time. Both of them were making movies, and they had two different personas. One guy was a bad to the bone guy, Steven Seagal, and one guy, of course, Van Damme. He was just charming, and he had phenomenal techniques. But what he really was he was the prototype for a martial artist. Just like Dolph Lundgren was the prototype for a bad guy for Rocky IV. If you just wrote a script and say, give me the Terminator, a robot, Russian, perfect, scenario for a guy to go up against Sylvester Stallone. Wow, but there is Dolph Lundgren. Same thing. If you wrote a script, you said, give me the perfect build, look, charm, flexibility, all that. Get the perfect one. Back then, you would choose somebody like Van Damme. He was just, listen, I was doing films at the same time. I couldn't do half what he could do. He could do splits and jump spins and that whole stuff. He was really good.
So 5-round UFC fight. How many rounds would it take Steven Seagal to tap out or knock out Van Damme?
It'd be more of a tap out. He'd probably have to take him to the ground and get him in one of the locks. Because once he captured his legs, Van Damme would do a round kick or a spinning kick, and he would capture it. And then once you capture it, then you take it and you just put it in one of your locks, and it's all over. It's not much you can do. If Van Damme could run around the ring for 5 rounds, he'd probably survive, but it'd be tough.